Good morning. Good morning, everyone. GM, and welcome to another episode of FOMO Hour. Today is Friday, June 20, 2025. Folks, coins, they're green this morning. We haven't seen that color in a little while. Crypto stocks are booming too. Now we're wondering, are we going to get a little weekend pump here? Are we going to continue the endless summer chop? We're going to break it all down on today's show. No Farouk, he's out sick today, but Mando's in the house and maybe another special guest joining us shortly. Mando GM, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Yeah, a little bit of a pump. Not even a pump. It's like a 1% move and everyone's losing their mind, but it definitely doesn't feel that bad today. And probably the first weekend in a couple of weekends, right, where it feels a little bit more chill going into the weekend.
It does. I think we got the comments from Trump, right? They may not make a decision for a couple weeks. It feels like this kind of pushed things off. So things are probably just going to continue as is. So we'll see if that holds up. Perhaps it was all maybe just a way for him to take some of his cards off the table as well. So I've heard that theory. So we'll certainly see. It is a nice morning for Indianapolis Pacers fans. Big win last night, Game 6.
Yeah.
So we are going to Game 7 of the NBA Finals in Oklahoma City on Sunday night. So that is going to be a big one. It's been a fun series, I think, for NBA fans broadly. Huge for the city of Indianapolis, Oklahoma City as well. So that's going to be a big one. We will be watching that closely on Sunday night. Folks, what are we talking about this morning on today's show? We're going to start with Mando's market report. We got Bitcoin strong, memes weak. Got some news right before the show. It looks like the pump token was going to be next week, and now it's been delayed to mid-July. So perhaps that's driving some of the weakness. We've got Circle stock pumping more. This thing just does not stop. And are there some beta plays out there that we need to watch? Plasma announcing its mainnet launch for late summer. We've got the Trump family selling off a huge chunk of their World Liberty Fi. Thought that was somewhat notable. Tether responding to the password hack, saying they might have a solution for all that. Jupiter abandoning their DAO model, and Rekt selling out day one, 7-Eleven at the LA party. You absolutely love to see it. So shout out to Ovi and team. And also, folks, it is Fartcoin Friday. You know what that means. Coin race at the end of the show. You want to stay tuned and make sure you are eligible to get in the drawing for that game. Feeling good about our giveaway. Before we dive in, shout outs to our partners. First up, Wallet Connect. Wallet Connect is the connectivity network shaping the future of on-chain UX. If you've connected to a Web3 app, you've seen Wallet Connect. That blue logo, it's everywhere. An icon of trust in crypto, as recognizable as Visa at the checkout. If you want to learn more, follow at Wallet Connect on X and Telegram to stay ahead of what's next. And Kraken Pro gives active traders exactly what they need. Deep liquidity, full customization, and 350 plus trading pairs. Build your own layout with drag and drop modules and trade seamlessly across desktop or mobile. Go to pro.kraken.com and trade without trade-offs. Also got a little news out of Kraken yesterday. They launched Bitcoin staking with Babylon, offering 1% yield. So I thought that was interesting as well. Well, that's our intro, Mando. If you're ready, let's just get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
GM, everyone. So a little bit of a better day. We're back up to around 106K on Bitcoin. East at 550. Solana just shy of 150. So we're up about 1 to 2%. It feels like a lot of altcoins have been bleeding over the last few days, and most of them have bounced today. It's not like the biggest bounce I've ever seen, but it stopped the red, I would say. Interestingly, the one that has drifted lower has been Hyperliquid. I don't think that's one I think is, that was one that really led the market for a long, long time. And now it's put in like 4 red days. And I wouldn't say it looks precarious. I just think that it's a focus. It's just something to pay attention to. A lot of people were looking to buy dips in Hyperliquid, right? I think the obvious level of support there would be the previous all-time high, which was around 34-ish. Am I right in saying, Tyler?
Yeah.
So
35.
yeah, 35. So I think you're probably in a sort of level where not a bad time if you missed Hyperliquid to finally get in. That line up was pretty difficult to buy. Now it feels like you've got a chance again, so worth paying attention to that one. But the rest of the L1s, ETH continues to slightly outperform, I would say. Although looks like we're going lower in the last few minutes across the board, actually, just looking at it now. Anyway, it does feel as though we're having a better day, not the best day, and it was a bit of a short squeeze, I would say, this morning. So we saw a number of like the coins which are heavily shorted lead the rally. Things like Say, for example, has had a decent move. Decent move. Things like Bitcoin Cash, coins which were not dead, but like they're just not coins that people necessarily are that bullish on. And those are like, so that's what it felt more like. It felt like just a wipeout of some of the positioning, rather than like, oh my god, it's such a great 24 hours of news. What we did see in Iran versus the US, or in Israel, is that you've seen the foreign minister of Iran is going to be meeting the foreign minister of the three major European powers in the UK, Germany, and France. And there is some form of a hope that could lead to a path for future talks with the US. But who knows? It does feel as though that still feels quite far off. And there were some concessions there that that could be around uranium enrichment, which has kind of been the crux of the issues so far. I still don't really know where it leads. It feels like they're both continuing to bomb each other, and Israel continues to attack nuclear sites. So this is going to have to be a pretty good deal, I think, for this to actually go through. As in, I think Iran would have to give up a lot of concessions given their position they're in. But let's see. I think over the weekend we won't hear any sort of resolution. Other than that, like I doubt there'll be strikes this weekend, but maybe there will be. Like as in, I don't think they'd strike 4 DAO this weekend, but we'll see. I think we've got a very brief window here for potential diplomacy, and over the next few days, we'll know the difference. Poly market, I was looking again this morning, if anything significantly has changed, but you have a 45% chance now of strikes before the end of July. So it does feel as though it's gone down since about 60% yesterday, but it's still relatively elevated. I wouldn't say it's still kind of like a 50-50 shot here that something's going to happen. So that headline yesterday was taken broadly more positively. My view is what I put out yesterday. Like it was really that. It's like everyone is positioned, it feels like, or more positioned now for that one headline. And now it feels like that headline could be, it could be a week or more away. And who even knows what the headline is at this stage? So maybe the diplomacy bit does work. Maybe it doesn't. I don't really know what caused. I think US intervention would probably cause the market to sell off. If there's a strike on Khomeini, I don't know if that causes the market to sell off. Like it's just difficult to know how this one plays out from here. So I'm continuing to be thinking that the risk reward is higher. I still like ETH, as I've been saying the whole time. It's kind of hang out in this range pretty much. Hasn't really gone lower than previous lows, and I think that's the one that I'd buy on any dips. The ETF inflows continue to be very, very strong. Just kind of continue. I don't think we've had a negative day for many, many weeks now. So I think it's setting itself up for the staking ETFs and a couple of other positive headlines later this month. So that's been the main driver. And then Bitcoin just looks like it's similarly just like not really moving, just kind of stuck in that sort of range. It's the ones that seem weak right now are hype, and I guess Sui maybe. Sui looks a little bit weak as a coin. Sol has been weak, but it's kind of calmed down a bit, I would say. It's just kind of hung out at this level for a bit now, so it doesn't feel like that's necessarily the one that's hitting lower lows here, whereas some of the other L1s are. So pay attention to some of the other L1s. I do think they look a little bit precarious. Away from that, the main story is Circle. Obviously, now a lot of the focus is on these publicly listed companies. As it was going live, it looked like, a few hours before the market opened, it looked like it was up another 20%. Then it was only up another 5% before the market opened. I don't know where it is now. It's going to be a volatile one. It's lower now.
No, it's higher.
It's higher. So it's up 14%. But this one is going to be moving around a lot. Obviously, the Genius Act is the main driver, it seems like. And also the fact that people are short, very clearly. I wouldn't want to get in the way of crypto people trying to drive up a short interest in the stock. It's weirdly become this like almost not a meme stock, but I think they like that people are short it and they don't care. So let's see where this one ends. I know Jeeves, who might be coming on, has been short that one. I think it's just a dangerous trade. It's a dangerous trade to be short anything, which crypto people decide to get behind. We saw some bigger headlines around stablecoins again. Revolut's considering doing a stablecoin, and Visa, I think, is expanding their stablecoin offerings. And it generally feels like stablecoins and treasury companies are the big thing. The other one was that Trump has reduced the Trump family at least has reduced its World Liberty Financial stake to 40%, which is kind of a masterful stroke, I think, by them. But they've managed to get out of that. And yeah, I guess that's it. Not a lot else. It's just Iran and the same sort of stuff that we've been seeing. Within crypto, it feels pretty quiet. We've just had a bit of a short squeeze. Everyone was saying that this morning in Europe when Bitcoin went up to 106K, that this is classic short squeeze rather than anything actually happened. There was no headline. And that's kind of what I agree to. This feels like people with no headlines coming out, that no like, oh my God, the world's going to head into World War III, you can quite easily squeeze some of these shorts. So that's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, is your read, maybe this is a leading question, are we just going to chop in this zone until there's some level of resolution between Israel and Iran? Like, do you see us really moving significantly, like breaking the 100 to 110K range?
No, definitely no. I don't think we're going harder than 110K before this gets resolved, for sure. And it's difficult to work out now what the resolution will be. Let's go through the possible options. So the possible options is some form of diplomatic solution, of which I can only imagine, given the position of both Trump and the Israelis, it would have to mean like complete destruction of the enriched uranium that's been created and pretty hard concessions on future development of nuclear technology. That feels to me like a deal that could take a while to get done. I don't know, but it feels to me like it could. The other one is U.S. intervention, which I think would be pretty swift, but would probably lead to a pretty negative reaction in markets, I reckon, just because of the immediate blowback that would be considered. I think if US were to intervene, it would probably be in and out, the facilities taken out, now we stop all aggression, basically. And then the third one is nothing really happens, but the Israelis then go for both the sites and Khamenei, and that feels like a more drawn out process as well, in my opinion. And that could take many weeks. So of all of those, it feels like we could be in the chop for a while here. Yeah. I would not buy, although I don't think being short necessarily is the right trade. I don't know when it turns, basically.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I've changed my posture. I thought at first it was going to be a quick a quick resolution, and it doesn't really seem that way. I feel like if the U.S. had not perhaps telegraphed its move and had moved in swifter, I think maybe it could have ended sooner. But now there's been more time. There's been more time for like Russia and China to come out and make statements against it, right? So now it feels like there's more implications if the U.S. is to make a move than perhaps it felt 3 days ago, which I think is what's weighing on, which is why these odds are down, just to put it bluntly.
Yeah, for sure. Though at the same time, I think the odds, what I would say is that Trump can be pretty unpredictable. Mm-hmm. So what we think might be happening, he's not your classic politician. It's normally with many politicians, you can see where the train is headed for many weeks before we get to the station. This is a sort of situation where he may have already decided to do that, to do the strike, and we're now like, it's more like a lull just to build consensus around it. So I just don't know with him. And I think that's kind of his political policy as well. So we could see something over the weekend. Who knows? Like, genuinely, who knows? But for now, I think the status quo is this is going to be left for kind of Israel and Iran to fight it out themselves, although US support will be obviously for Israel. And there's a window here for a diplomatic solution, but that could change at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, I think that's my base case. I do feel like the quickest resolution is likely the diplomacy route, but it's unclear to me exactly what that looks like and what the outcome is. And if we get a deal, is it just going to be one of those things that just kicks this can down the road another 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, so that we're still kind of worried about this escalating again in the future? So I think that's where my concern level is. Pulling it back to the crypto trade here a bit, I think what jumps out to me looking at the Bitcoin and ETH charts is like there are pretty clear levels of support, right? So like Bitcoin really hasn't dropped below this 104, 103.6 level in the last month. And similarly to ETH, I don't spend as much time on the ETH chart, but it's got a pretty strong floor basically at what, 24.70. So there's bids coming in. We're keeping it here. It does make me feel good that when we do get resolution, I think the resolution path is up.
Yeah, particularly for Bitcoin Bitcoin and ETH have held a pretty decent floor throughout all of this. I would be, which has been a very good sign. I think for a lot of the other things, that hasn't happened, and that's why Bitcoin dominance is looking higher, and a lot of altcoins have been smashed. So, but I wouldn't get ahead of like freaking out over something like this at this stage. For at least looking at crypto charts, they look pretty well supported at the moment.
Well, I want to talk about maybe like this Solana and the meme trade here a bit. So Farcoin's actively dipping, down 28% on the month. It's down 96.
Wow. Okay, I didn't see it move again lower today.
So, and this chart looks significantly different than the Bitcoin ETH charts that we were just showing on the month. It looks more like the Solana chart. Excuse me, folks. And I'm wondering, yeah, it looks a lot more like that Solana chart. Is it tied to this Pump.fun news? So
100. That's the first thing I thought of straight away. This just feels
like found out. I didn't realize that the token was supposed to be next Wednesday. That's what Wu Blockchain is saying. Pump.fun token was supposed to be June 25th, and now it's delayed till mid-July.
But there's enough VCs involved in this that I think they've probably got pretty good data. Like, I think it probably was meant to come next week, and now it's meant to come in July. That feels like a complete dump from another VC that has just sent it to them and been like, hey, this is the news. So,
yeah. And it feels like people are just waiting. It's like the Sol meme trenches have been pretty brutal. Like we had one runner the past couple of days that this Gorbagana, and we'll get into that perhaps in a second. But pretty much everything else has just been selling off basically every day, with no real new movement at all. And there's always a handful, but nothing significant. And now it makes me wonder: are we just going to? Is this just going to continue till after this pump token in mid-July? So the meme traders are in for another few weeks of hell here. I think that's my base case.
Even if it's not the driver, it's the driver of the narrative. So like, do you really want to buy? Even if I just feel like it's self-fulfilling to a certain extent at this stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the trenches are necessarily the people who are going to cough up the money here for the Pumpfun token. It does feel very BC backed more than trench backed, but the narrative is there because as soon as that headline came out, all the coins dumped. So like now it's like, well, this is the reason driving them lower.
Yeah,
It's
it very well could be that.
It's probably a really good long coming up for Fartcoin and a couple of these Solana meme coins. Probably a really good long coming up.
I agree. When is that going to happen? It might not be till mid-July now, so we'll see. But also, so that's the meme narrative. It could very well be narrative following price action, right? But I mean, hype is similar to a degree. Like, I mean, it is lagging Bitcoin and ETH fairly substantially. I mean, not massively, but I mean, let's take a look at the month chart on hype.
I mean, I told you I sold my hype at 39 or 38 or wherever it was when I missed the last move up to 44 because I felt like it was getting listed. And part of the things I really liked about hype was that it was like difficult to own and all this sort of stuff. And then now it's been listed on all these exchanges. Like, part of me thinks that like if I was a conspiracy theorist, I think Binance listed this thing for perps, as did Coinbase. Like maybe they're like, well, let's just fuck with these guys. You know, I mean, that's it's not even that tinfoil hat
right
of a reason to consider, right? Like, hey, we're going to get this thing listed and because there's a lot of levered longs on hype, right? But they're generally on Hyperliquid. I think they were being held before, right? And now suddenly the major exchanges list hype and it drops and it just looks a little bit shaky. So I don't think it's that crazy to think that could be part of it, but I also think it's been a crazy run up and there's a few things that have happened, right? A lot of rumors. There's rumors that many of these centralized exchanges are essentially trying to build competitors now to it. You've had Coinbase get a listing and it's just not that low a market cap anymore. Like it's not a massive current market cap, but if you actually look at the tokenomics of hype, everyone starts getting unlocked, including the core contributors, i.e. the guys have been shilling it since the start in the autumn. I think it's September. So like this whole like, well, focus on 12 billion. Well, you can, but then there is also at the same time 36 billion or at that time 44 billion, and it really depends what they decide to do with the unlocked hype. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think that's something to be aware of. I feel like on the days that it pumps, everyone just constantly talks about the revenue that it brings in and these buybacks. It's down the last 4 days. It's not like revenue is down. Revenue is in line. I mean, it looks like it's broadly trending up. So it does feel like perhaps some other games are being played. It's just interesting to me. Like that narrative isn't touted on the timeline on days when it's red versus days when it's green. That's just more of CT.
We spoke about this. Like if you're in consensus trades, even consensus good trades, you have to appreciate that sometimes they can be technically terrible. And then when the market turns, they can absolutely roof, right? Like we spoke about what were the most consensus trades on the timeline, and hype and Fartcoin came up as both of those. And I think most people are bullish on both of those coins, but you have to appreciate that times like this can happen, and it can go down to 30, and like it's just purely it's a consensus trade. So just like know that those sort of periods can happen.
I might swoop in at 30. If it gets to 30, I might get back into the game.
Yeah, I think at 30, you'll see people being like, "You idiots bought hype!" Like, bam, that's when you buy. You know,
Yes.
I made that mistake once before when it, you know, well, to be fair, Binance were moments away from taking down the exchange. I continue to think that any scenario in the past, I would have been like, this is a really dangerous scenario because they were inches from a very, very worrying situation. But if it's just generic FUD, which you see on Fartcoin as well, you know, yeah, we need to.
Yeah, there's nothing really driving. Nothing's really changed. And in fact, it looks strong, perhaps as strong as it ever has. So we'll continue to track that. Had hoped Jeeves was going to join us. He might not. So I think we got to dig into this circle trade a bit. So just to refresh, this thing's hanging out at 228. It's up another 15% on the day. That puts it at $53 billion market cap. Let's see. What's the 5-day look like? This thing was at 105 last week. So it's up over 100% on the week. If you look at just a couple comparisons out there. So the market cap FTV of USDC, their stablecoin is at 61 billion. Circle stock is at 53. We just said that. Coinbase stock, 77 billion. It does seem like Coin has been perhaps pumping aligned somewhat along with Circle. That's my read. Perhaps it's also a beneficiary of the Genius Act passing, but it does feel somewhat notable to me how much Coinbase has outperformed crypto majors, because a lot of times they'll trade somewhat in line, and that's not what's happening here for Coinbase stock. I also thought it was somewhat notable. I tweeted this morning that Visa stock is down about 10% from its local high in the last 8 to 10 days, which is about 60 billion, which is effectively the market cap of Circle. So Visa lost to Circle in market cap. Perhaps showing how the winds might be changing. I've been publicly bearish on this stock since it IPO'd. I thought it was overvalued at 7 billion. Now it's 7.5 times higher than that. I think I was just thinking about it wrong. So this tweet from Darren, who I respect a lot, I think he's a very sharp trader, kind of opened my eyes. And I've heard a few people talking about this. I haven't seen it super publicly, but he's basically saying, stop thinking about it from price to earnings. Start thinking about what it can become, the market share net asset value of how big this can be. And is there a way for them to pursue some kind of a treasury company for stablecoin model here? It feels to me like this thesis is what's driving this, unless it's just pure meme stocks, short squeeze, right? Like the people who are bulls at $228 and are buying this stock today, like this has to be their bull case, right? Because like, how else can you justify buying in here? But at the same time, if that is your bull case, I see it. I see the potential, and the upside is big. When you've got Bessent coming out and calling for stable coins to 3.7 trillion, USDC clearly a leader. There's a lot of competition coming, but they are ahead of the competition. So
I think ahead is just is a temporary word. I don't know how to put it into. I mean, and not to like completely say that this is wrong, but my view is that people are buying Circle right now because it's going higher. Sure. They wake up each day and it's up 10%, and they're like, "I need to buy it. I need to buy it." And it's got that. It has got a Pumpfun chart to it. This is what's going to happen. If crypto, all the people that have been degenning on altcoins and meme coins for the last 2 years have been told, now we got to get into stocks. And so you're going to get a lot of this, I think, with crypto stocks. This is the narrative, but it could also have been true of the narrative like at a quarter of the price, in my opinion. So, and just to put into scale, like JP Morgan AUM as a bank, JP Morgan has $3.7 trillion of assets, right? I don't know how much of that is in cash, but I'm sure it has a hundreds of billions of dollars of cash. They could eclipse Circle's AUM of a stablecoin in a day. In a day, like Circle is not. It is a big stablecoin, but it's if all these financial institutions decide to create a stablecoin, like they can really get it going. So I think they IPO'd at the right time before the major competition comes in. But now you're going to see major competition, and I think people aren't buying based on valuation. I think they're buying because they're crypto guys. They're crypto people who've come in and gone like, yeah, this is the stock. So I would be on Jeeves' side here. Not that it can't go higher, but I wouldn't be convincing myself there's a fundamental story about why this should go to like 1,000 or something like that, or even go higher since there.
Yeah, I don't think there's a fundamental story, but there is a hopium.
There's a hopium.
There is a path forward. There's a mimetic path forward. I'm not clicking the buttons to go short.
Oh God, no.
That is a fact. I think the other interesting take I saw on this was out of Tom Lee, who basically points to Ethereum as the big winner. And this is somewhat popular. I've seen other people saying this. That effectively, as stablecoins rise, and this is actually bigger than Circle, because even Circle competitors here, if they're on Ethereum, this would drive up ETH network fees, exponential growth in the Ethereum network usage, saying it's a direct beneficiary.
So would Solana though. You could just say this benefits the major L1s. I think actually there's more stablecoin volume potentially on Solana. I don't know if that's still the case. It definitely was a couple of months ago. Yeah, could make the same argument for Solana. I think. I mean, maybe not Tron, because Tron is mainly USDT, it's Tether. But for Circle, this is more a trade around that, and maybe that is why we're seeing a drive into ETH. You know, I'm very bullish on ETH right now. Genuinely, like I do think that the normies can get behind this trade way more than they have in the past. And I think it will go to 4K by the end of the summer.
So I've got an ETH beta trade for you. And guess what? It's a stock.
Oh boy.
It's a stock that's 80% off all-time high. So
I don't mind that. I think that's a good trade. Probably a good trade here. A lot of FUD. But I would say though that there are sellers of that stock. You know, like it doesn't feel as closely held as some of these other ones. Like we had the DeFi Development Corp guys on, right? Like that stock feels way more tightly held than this.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think best bet if you're going to enter this trade, and I've been thinking about today actually. I think it's one to DCA into. I don't know if today's going to be the bottom. There's going to be sell pressure. What's interesting to me, market cap 650 million. They've got 425 million worth of ETH right now. They've said that they want to buy more. And you've got ETH upside. I don't know. It's trading at a fraction of $1 billion right now. And if they really want to be the MicroStrategy of Ethereum, there's upside. I think the ROI is potentially there. Like it is a riskier trade for sure. And that's what betas are.
What I would say is that like if this catches the same sort of meme like that we just saw with Circle, like a bit more like, oh yeah, this is the trade. People will look at the last all-time high and be like, yeah, this is the trade, right? Doesn't matter about the valuation. Like this is the
straight
trade.
Back to 80.
Maybe, do you know what, Tyler? Maybe that is the trade. Maybe that is the trade. I've traditionally felt like buying L1 betas is always a dangerous trade, but maybe this is the one that works.
You heard it here first, folks. Live on the FOMO Hour Fartcoin Fridays. So I will also be taking a look at this one very, very closely. We covered the main topics. Quickly, I'll touch on this meme coin. This is a wild story. We haven't really seen a meme runner like this, which actually is kind of organic. in quite some time. This Gorbagana token has run to $40 million. There's a bit of lore on this. Let me see if I can find the tweet quickly while I'm talking about it.
It's linked to Totally, right? Or
Totally and Gabe Shapiro were basically having an argument about how the importance of trademarks in blockchains. And Gabe Shapiro, who was an ETH maxi, was basically saying that you could fork Solana, name it something ridiculous like Gorbagana, and a certain cohort would start trading over there, and effectively there's a world where it could flip Solana, and they're going back and forth. Totally says, well, I can't believe no one's launched a Gorbagana meme coin yet. Someone launches it. There's a little bit of a PvP, and then the narrative shifts to like, okay, we're going to crowdsource actually building out this fork. And Gabriel Shapiro helped do that. They raised like $23,000. The token pumped, and then this is where the thing gets wild. So this is where Gabe Shapiro crowdfunds the cash. This dev appears. The dev's going to do it. Then he says, no, I'm going to use this other meme coin, the other Gore, as the gas token. So this Gorbagana sells off. The other one pumps. 5 minutes later, he rugs it and disappears and exits out of his Twitter. This rogue dev, and then just abandons that project.
Is there more of a story that speaks about the trenches than what you just told me? Is there, like, I don't think it could have been any more the Solana trenches, that story. So, good meme, good potential for a meme. PvP'd on the way up. Then even raises money for what they're going to do. And then Dev decides to semi-rug, then fully rug. And now we're left with a coin at 30 million. People say why people don't trade in the trenches anymore.
This is why we're buying stocks, folks. We're forced to buy stocks because rogue devs are rugging their coins on a daily basis.
Like, felt like there was a decent chance there for something good, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It's just so funny, these sort of things. I love how there was a PvP, just like a PV fucking P. Just choose one, guys.
There's
the ETH coin's been created.
Oh, of course there has. Of course, there's an ETH one, which makes zero sense.
Yeah.
That they would make one on ETH, but alas, we kind of went around the story. The only thing that was somewhat notable out of the Trump selling off 20% stake, I looked into that World Liberty Fi token. Let me see if I thought I had it up here. It's trading at 940 million on pre-market. And on decent volume. So it's doing about $5 million of volume a day. So we do have an early valuation for World Liberty Fi. And that is a token that feels like it could very well catch a mimetic bid into this stablecoin crypto craze because they've got a stablecoin USD1. That's why it was actually a little surprising to me that the Trump family took 20% off. I guess they're still huge owners in this. And maybe the cash was too good. I think Forbes reported they had a chance to make something like 150 million, 190 million on this. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. But that surprised me a little bit. I think there's also the potential narrative like, oh, they're distancing themselves amidst like the Dems pushback. I'm not really sure that I'm buying that as the reason here, especially if they announce any more crypto dealings in the next month. So we'll certainly see. But that World Liberty Fi is going to be a token to watch in the near future. Sims, I think we went around the horn.
Yes.
Sparkcoin Friday. I don't know if I gave out the code. The code was Pump.
It was Pump. I have put it in thingy chat, but we'll give people just a couple of minutes because I don't think we did call it out. So we'll bring it up and people can do it.
Well, I guess while we wait,
are we going to choose anyone in the audience, or should we choose people from the top as well? Like,
for today, we're just going by the standard picker, and then me and Ty are going to work over what we've discussed and see where we work from there. So we'll just go standard away, enter the code at yeetaboards.com. Code is Pump. Use the using the FOMO hour code. you want to just cover this topic real quick, Tyler, while we let more people come in for
we'll
2
get
minutes?
folks another minute or two to join real quick. Shout out to OSF. You love to see it. Rekt sells out their drinks at the 7-Eleven event live in LA yesterday. Looks like it was a fun party, successful event. He has got his hands full. So are they doing events like this, Mando, do you know, today and tomorrow, or are those more just focused on just in-store launches?
You know what? I just don't even know. Like, I think this is the biggest distributor that they have, but this is in California.
Mhm.
And I think if it's successful in California, then it obviously 7-Eleven is a global brand. So we'll see where it goes from there. But it feels like the first event was a big success, and then potentially it goes from there. I know they've obviously launched like the site as well, so you can order now directly at any time. So obviously it's been more of a drop model, but if you ever run out, you can just go buy some now as well. So
I must have missed that announcement. There's a website?
yeah, as far as I'm aware.
All right. Well, I'm going to do my research because I'm not seeing that yet.
I mean, the majority of them have been sold by these
The
drops.
drops.
But yeah,
Mhm.
it's,
Awesome.
oh,
Well, wish
maybe they
we
have-
had the best to learn on this LA tour.
They may have all sold out again. I'm going to the site now and it says all sold out. So maybe they did launch that and they all, but that's kind of the sold out again. Subscribe for the next drop. I think maybe we'll see more coming. Which
Demand
is
high.
I like the blue ones. The blue ones are
Me
good.
too. I just I popped mine in the fridge yesterday, so I'm excited to get my first real taste test today.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Nice.
So spin this, and then I just need to make sure that the person hasn't won within a month. So let's give it a go.
Let's do it. IBM's incredible handle. Not sure I've seen that before.
Is KBM coming up on stage?
Their
Is that where we're
kick
at?
is Pollock in kick chat. Their kick is Pollock, KBM's son, Pollock. Are they in a kick chat? They want to chat, they can chat and they can claim it. I think they don't have their Twitter, but if they want to claim it inside chat on the kick chat, they can do.
Oh, he's there.
Pollock, there he is. There he is. Pollock. Pollock, can you come on the space? Is it possible? Or do we just, of course I'm here. Of course I'm here.
I guess he could always just tell us in the chat what coin he wants.
Yeah, you can. I can actually bring up his. If you don't want to come on the space, we can always bring him up on the chat that we have on here now because it does work. So let me pop that up. Comments. Give me a sec. Okay. And while that's happening, I can get the other game ready to go.
Load it up. So, folks, this is it's Fart Coin Fridays where we play coin race, and our lucky winner will be able to
switch spaces. Okay.
Yeah. So Paul, tell us a coin you want. You're gonna get. So you banked $500. You've already won $500. You're gonna get $250 on Fart Coin, and you're gonna get $250 on a coin of your choice, either Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, or Doge. And they each have higher odds as you go further out. So let us know what you want your coin. All right. He says Solana and Bitcoin. You only get to pick one.
You got to pick one. It has to be Fat Coin plus one.
So pick Sol or Bitcoin for us.
So is he the only winner or bring up two more?
No, only one today because we've done 5 through the week.
Okay, cool.
All right, he picks
BTC.
All right. He's going the barbell, the Fart Coin Bitcoin barbell. You love this.
I like that.
All right, so this you're not in this one. You'll be in the next race.
It's crank musical, boys.
Oh yeah.
Come on. Let's have a good Friday.
All right, love that Fart Coin's
How
not
you
in
get
this
with
race.
Bitcoin wins.
Bitcoin wins this one. It's hot. All right.
Eat it already.
250 Fart. 250 Bitcoin. All right, we're in.
Come on.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Come on, Paula.
3,
Go!
Oh my god.
Oh no, far side. Come on, Bitcoin.
If he gets Bitcoin, he'll still back $1,000.
This race. Wow. All right. Well, Pollock, that was exhilarating. You still bank $500. The team will coordinate with you right after the show.
Man, we haven't had a win on CoinRace for a while, have we?
I
think we have multiple people up. We've got to have it so that everyone chooses a coin, and then we can always have a winner.
Yeah, I like that.
We choose Fartcoin, although it's Fartcoin Fridays. Fartcoin, is not going to win that often. So it feels like maybe we should make it so that they can choose any coin going forward.
Hey, look, I hit it twice in 3 goes, so I believe.
Yeah.
Could do 100 on Fart, and they have 200.
And maybe it's 100 on Fart, and then the others we can choose.
We'll continue to play with it.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is a great show. I enjoyed it.
This was good, folks. Thanks for joining us. I want to thank our listeners as always. I want to thank my co-host Mando. I want to thank our partners. That's it. We'll be back at 10 a.m. Eastern on Monday. Till then, go make it a beautiful day.